Okay, so I want to talk to my viewers about some stuff right now. Anyway, in this video, I will talk about animals. That have killed lots of people. And for this video for YouTube, the title I may use for this video will be called "Man Eaters That Have Killed Hundreds of People." Although I may change the title, but I may use it too. Anyway, in this video, I will talk about animals that have killed hundreds of people, and their stories are very crazy, fascinating, hard to believe, interesting, and unique. And they're also very scary and terrifying. Throughout history, there have been so quite a lot of animals that have killed hundreds of people, and many people and people will find that hard to believe. And I want to say one thing is first thing is like please watch the full video, and also please read all the comments and also write down your own comments. I would really like that. And also watch the video in the highest quality that you can get it into. I think it goes from anywhere from lowest is like something like 144p to all the way, and the highest it can go up to is like 1080p. It goes anywhere from 144p to 3 to I mean to 1080p. So anywhere from 144p to 1080p. Watch it in the highest quality that you can get it into. And also, if my voice gets too high in any part of the video, then just turn the volume down. And here's the thing. I'll show my viewers something. You see these two lions over here? They're called the Ghost and the Darkness. They're also called the Lions of Tsavo as well as Tsavo Man-Eaters. This is basically, from Chicago Field Museum. If you go to Chicago Field Museum, you can find stuffed bodies of these two male lions. And basically the story goes like this. By the way, I think a lot of people will find it hard to believe that these two lions were males, but they were, because male lions have manes, but the lions that live in the Savo region of Africa, for some reasons I think even all the lions there, including even the male ones, I think don't have manes in Savo region, the region of Africa. Anyway, the story goes like this: that way back in 1898 in Kenya, Africa, there were railroad work. There were people that were working on construction of railroad in Kenya, Africa, and the railroad was called Uganda. I think it was called Kenya Uganda Railway or something like that. Sorry, I have a stuttering problem, and I'm sorry about that. I sometimes stutter. Anyway, when it comes to these two male lions, both were brothers, and they suddenly started attacking people, at nighttime in 1898 in Kenya, Africa, and they would attack people at nighttime, but later on they got so bold, so daring, and so cunning and dangerous that they would actually start attacking people even in daytime. At first they would attack at nighttime, but later they would got so cunning, bold, and dangerous. That they would start attacking people in broad daylight, and carry people away, and eat them and carry people away, and people would just watch helplessly as these two animals would kill humans and just eat them or carry them away or something like that. And anyway, the people that were most of their victims were either Africans or Indians from Asia. So most of the victims that these two lions killed were Africans or Asian Indians, but there were also some British people who I think who also like were victims of their attacks. It was the British Empire. Was very powerful back then, and it was in charge, and of and there were also some British living there. The British were the top officials and stuff, and these two lions started attacking and killing, and in 1898, and I think in less than 9 months or something like that, they ended up killing in somewhere from 35 people to maybe 135 people or something like that. So anywhere from 35 people to 135 people in 9 months, less than a year. And these two lions were called the Ghost and the Darkness, and their stuffed bodies can be found in Chicago Field Museum even today. I'll show more stuff to my viewers right now. This is actually, what you see here is, these are the skulls of these two brothers, of the Ghost and the Darkness. This is also found in Chicago Field Museum, skulls of these two lions. By the way, when it comes to these two lions, there's actually a movie on this called The Ghost and the Darkness. Yes, I know DVDs are now very old, and even Blu-rays and DVDs are pretty much out of fashion, and very few people, if any, ever watch them. But I got this DVD way back in 2014. And back then DVDs and DVDs and Blu-rays, were still more active than they are now, and people watch DVDs and Blu-rays back then more than they do now. But anyway, I got this DVD way back in 2014, and you can find this movie, on on streaming services. You can find it on Amazon Prime. I think you can find this movie on Amazon Prime and also on Netflix. I think it's available on Amazon Prime as well as Netflix and also maybe other streaming services. And it's a very good movie. There's Michael Douglas is in it, and also Val Kilmer is in it. And for the most part, the story is pretty much sticks to the original story more for the most part, but there's some difference between the movie and as well as the real life incident. The biggest difference is that in the real life, the Ghost and the Darkness, the two male lions that were behind these two attacks, they were mainless. In real life, they had no mains. They had no mains, but in this movie, they had mains, and I think there's a couple of reasons why they Ghost and the Darkness, are portrayed with mains in this movie. I think the first reason is because I think because they wanted to, because people think of lions, male lions as being dominating and powerful and majestic, and a lot of that has to do with their manes. Their manes that the male lions have make them look more dominant, more powerful. It makes them look dominant, powerful, and majestic. And I think another reason why they did that is because a lot of people probably do not know that the male lions, of Savo region of Africa don't have manes. So maybe they didn't want people to get confused and stuff like that. Anyway, this movie is very good, and there's another major difference between the movie and the real story is that in real life, the person who tracked these two lions, his name was Colonel John Henry Patterson. Val Kilmer plays Patterson in this movie. In real life, it was Patterson who shot and killed both of these lions. But in this movie, Michael Douglas plays another hunter who kills one of the lions. In fact, in this movie, both actors kill at least one of the lions. But in real life, it was Patterson, played by Kilmer, who killed both of these lions. And anyway, I'll show some people more stuff. You see this? This is actually the stuff. This is actually the body of after the first animal after it was killed. The first of the two Savo man-eating lions, FMNH 23970, shot by Lieutenant Colonel Patterson. This is Patterson. The guy in this, I think, is Patterson. Posing with the body of the first male lion from the Savo incident, and then this is now the second man eater from Savo, shot by Lieutenant Colonel Patterson, now known as FMNH 23969. And the guy in this picture is not it's someone else. It's not Patterson, obviously. And there's also a book made on this story, on the whole story. It's called The Man Eaters of Savo by Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson. And the book is series editor is some guy named Peter Capstick. It's a very good book, actually. In this book, he talks about a couple of things. He covers the man eaters of Savo, but he also covers other incidents. Here, and this book also has pictures and stuff. So I'll show more people stuff from this book. You know. By the way, I got this here. It says on the back that the price is US $32.50, but I got it from Amazon and I think it was cheaper than this. It's just here it says 32.50, and as you can see, this book even had pictures. As I showed earlier, it has pictures and stuff too. Real pictures. Hold on, where did it go? So yeah, and now I will cover more stuff. I'll show people more things. Just keep watching. Like, do you see this here? This is actually supposed to be a body of a female Bengal tigress. It was called a Champavat tigress, and it killed at least 430 people, I think. It was, and I think the tigress in this picture is the Champawa tigress. Anyway, the guy in this picture, his name was Jim Corbett. He was a very interesting guy. You can look him up. And he was very interesting. Like the guy Colonel like Patterson. In fact, both of them lived very interesting lives. You can look them up. Both of them are very brave and lived very interesting lives. You can look them up. And in the second picture, his of him with posing with a leopard. It was called the leopard of Rudraprayag, that killed as many as 125 people. I think. Anyway, when it comes to the Champawa tigress, I think this animal killed at least 430 people and probably ate most of them. And it was a very bold, very dangerous, very cunning animal. And, a lot of people made a lot of efforts to kill and capture it or poison it or drive it away. Like they made a lot of efforts with the ghost and the darkness, but they also made a lot of efforts with the tigress. And after some time, the tigress was shot and killed by Corbett. And, as for the leopard of Rudraprayag, I think this animal, was also very cunning, very bold, and very dangerous. If you read about their stories, you'll find it hard to believe that some of these animals can do something so scary. When it comes to the leopard of Rudraprayag, I think this animal used to enter, huts. What it used to do is it used to enter villages and used to enter huts, and then would climb through roofs or break down doors and then drag people away in their sleep or something, and without being noticed. And at first I thought it had I think at first when the leopard of Rudraprayag started attacking people, I think he used to attack them in broad daylight. But later on, it got so bold that it would attack people at nighttime. And it would enter villages. It would enter. And then it will break down. It would climb through roofs, or it would break down doors of the huts. And then drag people in their sleep without being noticed. In fact, leopards are very cunning, very bold, very dangerous, and very powerful too. They're also very smart. In fact, it is said that if leopards were as big as tigers or lions, they would be even more dangerous. And the leopard of Rudraprayag could have killed at least 125 people. And when it comes to these animals like these tigers, lions, and leopards, many of them were actually animals that were either old, or they were injured, or they had missing or broken teeth or something. And that is probably the main reason why they started preying on human beings. They also probably realized over time that humans are very easy to kill. And another reason why these animals develop taste for human flesh is by uh what do you call it, was by by finding bodies of human beings. What I mean by this is, like, in many parts of the world, like places like India and stuff, people used to get rid of the bodies of the dead by throwing them away in the river or something. And I think that could be another reason how these animals developed taste for human flesh. And as for Jim Corbett, this guy in the first picture as well as the second picture, he was a very interesting and very nice guy too. He was one of those humans that wanted to bring balance between both nature and man. He wanted to he wanted to see a world where both animals and humans coexisted with each other peacefully. He lived also a very interesting life. Look him up. And as for Corbett, there's even a national park in India named after him. It's called the Jim Corbett National Park. And anyway, Corbett, was a very nice guy. He cared a lot about even the local people of India, and I think he also possibly he was also a supporter of the Indian independence movement, I think. Anyway, there's also a book on by Corbett, I think. Hold on. This book here is called the Jim Corbett Omnibus. This is by Corbett, and it's a rather interesting book too. I think I got this book from Amazon. It covers quite a lot of stories. This book has pictures, but the pictures in this book, I think, are drawn. They're not like real pictures. I think there might be some real pictures in this book, I think, although I'm not fully sure. But all the pictures so far I've seen are are drawn picture. And he talks about quite a lot of stuff here in Corbett. Yeah, this is a very good book. And now, I will tell my viewers one more thing. Hold on. I mean, few more things. Sorry. The next thing I want to talk about is this here. It's called the Beast of Gavadon or Javadon or whatever. Anyway, the Beast of Gavadon or Javadon was an interesting animal or a group of animals that killed anywhere from 60 to 500 people, according to various sources in France between 1764 to 1767. It was reportedly killed a few times before all the attacks linked to it finally came to an end. The identity of the animal or the group of animals behind the attacks remain a mystery till date. And this is supposed to be an illustration of what the beast of Gavadon or Javadon possibly looks like. It was a strange animal. Even today's identity hasn't really been, even it remains a mystery even till today. Anyway, there's a movie on this too. It's called Brotherhood of the Wolf. By the way, I got this movie on DVD too. It's a very good movie. It's actually a French movie, I think, but it's dubbed. But the version I have, I think it's dubbed in English. And anyway, this movie, has a lot of stuff in it. There's the main story I think is about the Beast of Gavadon, and how it attacked people and stuff, the animal or the groups of animals I think are killed. But there's also like it also covers other things. I mean, this movie also covers uh there's also like it's based in France during the French Revolution. It's based in France during the French Revolution, and also is a buckling film, swashbuckling. And there's also martial arts scene. Like a lot of the fighting and stuff is based in martial arts. And Monica Bellucci is also in this film. I mean, I don't fully remember this movie story as well as I remember the Ghost and Darkness because I've seen this movie only once. Once I've seen the Ghost and the Darkness a few more times. But I told what I remember from this movie. I saw this movie for the first time way back in like maybe a few years ago, I think. This movie also I think is might be available on Amazon Prime as well as Netflix. I think I'm not fully sure though. You can check it out. And I want to say cover one more thing, which is this is about Gustav. Gustav is a Nile crocodile that has killed as many as 300 people in Burundi, Africa, and might be alive still. Although some sources claim that he was killed in 2019, but they did not say who killed him and how. This is supposed to be a picture of Gustav. Gustav is a Nile crocodile, in Africa. And this animal is very dangerous too. It has killed as many as 300 people in Burundi, Africa, and might be alive. I mean, still, but there are many sources that claim that he might have died in 2019, but they don't know who killed it or how. And as you can see, many of these animals, their stories are really indeed very crazy and fascinating, hard to believe, and scary too. And another thing is that most of these animals, existed in the past, as you can see, but there have been also few really dangerous and scary man eaters even in the present, like Gustav, is present times, and so, and as far as these animals are concerned, many of them have some similarities, quite a lot of similarities. Many of them are old and injured and have broken end or missing tooth or something, and they develop taste for human flesh by tasting human body from by people dumping bodies in rivers or something, and that's another reason how they develop taste for human flesh, and they figured out that humans are easy to kill too. And another thing is, a lot of people believe that these animals, were evil spirits or demons or ghosts of ancestors or something. Quite a lot of people have thought about these kinds of animals in this kind of way. And that's I think everyone can say I mean. You can say what you want, but we'll probably never know why these animals behave like this. I mean, we know, but some things can just never be explained, I guess. Bye. That was my video, and thank you for watching, and bye now.